So because my kitchen is all electric, I oftentimes get the question, hey, so how about wok cooking? How do you do stir fries? Does it get hot enough? Is it powerful enough? Does induction really match the power level that you get from a regular kitchen gas stove? And my answer is always yes. Whether you're using a flat bottom wok on a regular induction hob or you're using a round bottom wok on a specialized induction hob, you can get the heat levels required to make something like a decent fried rice, the same that you can get on a home gas burner. If you're doing it on a regular induction glass hob, there are some things that you do have to be mindful of. Because you're going through the motions of stir frying, even if you're using a gas range, it's not like your pan was on the flame when you're going through that motion. And that is the same when you're using an induction hob. You just have to be more careful about putting it back on because this is still a glass surface. If you were going to use a stir fry on a flat induction hob, I would say to treat it as if it were a Cantonese style wok and just not have it leave the flame at all. And use your utensils to like push the food around as if you were stir frying it that way. Because most woks are either made out of cast iron or more commonly carbon steel, they are ferrous, which means they are magnetic, which means they work with induction. Because how intensely an induction on like the high setting can push that energy into the bottom of a wok, you will find that you will get the same results using this as you would most gas stoves. Now, if you're going to invest in something more specialized, this is an induction wok burner. The bottom is curved and there is a lip here to make sure that the wok never touches the glass surface. So you can actually go through the motions of like moving the wok back and forth when you were stir frying, just like you would if you were using like a professional gas wok hob. So you can go back and forth and you will not be damaging the bottom of the hob. Dials are manual, so you can set it the way that a lot of gas hobs are set. And these definitely get powerful enough to be comparable to a home gas wok setup. And to prove it today, we're going to make some very simple garlic fried rice. When I initially bought that thing, it was around $110. They retail for more now because inflation. It still runs for under 200 bucks, and it comes with that wok. Garlic fried rice is one of the most simple fried rices that you can make. It's not only just popular in Chinese cuisine, but I know they have their own versions in Japanese and Filipino cuisines. It's a really good base. Even though it is a fried rice, it's a really good one to eat as if it were a regular rice. And by that, I mean like it's really good to eat with other things. So it's super versatile and it is tasty enough to eat on its own with like maybe an egg. But it's also like mild enough that you can eat it with other things and like using that as a mixing base to eat as if with a regular like Chinese dinner. If you just wanted to keep it simple and just wanted to use salt and garlic, you totally can. I would add a little bit of white pepper in there just like to make things a little sassy. But today we're also going to use Nira flour. It's also known as the flowering buds of garlic chives. You see these in big bundles in Asian grocery stores, at least particularly most Chinese grocery stores I know, they have this. It's used in Korean cuisine as something that you add to kimchi. It's got a really like funky smell to it. And actually we in Chinese cuisine love to stir fry the flowering buds. They are a little bit thicker. They are a little bit more, I guess, structurally firm than just the leafy green, but they're really, really good stir fried. And actually they're really good like chopped up and put into an omelet too. And the last thing we're gonna put into it is Hong Kong olive vegetable because this stuff is just so good in any kind of stir fried thing. The first thing we're gonna do is peel the garlic. If you're buying these, don't leave these in your fridge too long because these will stink up your entire fridge. It smells kind of like garlic and body odor, but like in a good way. Is there a good way? A lot of the base of the stem is a little too woody to use for anything besides like pickling. So I would, just to be safe, take this whole part off and like compost this. If you're keeping some kind of vegetable scrap bin, I would not add these to them simply because they're so pungent, they will overpower everything else that you're using. So if you use these for stock, it might be a little too like musky. You could do this in a food processor, provided that your processor blade is really sharp, but I would be careful because it quickly turns into like a garlic paste. Even though the pieces are really small, you want it to be like separate pieces as opposed to a garlic paste, so it like distributes evenly, almost as if it were like a vegetable in the garlic fried rice. That makes for very tasty garlic fried rice. Okay, that's good enough. So when you're stir frying anything, the trick is just to make sure you have all your components just ready to go the minute that you need it. So that means having everything right then and there, not having to like get off of the flame and like going off to grab something, because by that time normally it's too late, something would have burned, which is not very good if you're like me and you're not a planner, but you get the hang of it. Whenever you're stir frying with any wok, but especially if you don't use your wok a lot, it's really important to make sure that your wok is actually entirely dry. And what we mean by that is like there's no water even inside like the pores of your pan. So to make sure that we do that, we kind of like do a little like mini season. It is important to season your wok after each use, but you can do a little mini season beforehand. So what you do is you turn your wok to like a medium heat. I've used this thing so much that like the sticker label falls off. You turn your wok to like a medium heat and start, and then you take a little bit of oil and you just kind of allow it to pretty much fry off any kind of residual water that might be in the pan. Since I haven't used this for very long, there is some water in here. Oh, I've also had wet hands. Oh, it's from this. Okay, so you just push it off into the sides, making sure you get like most of the cooking surface. So making sure to get along the sides, getting most of your cooking surface down. And once it is nice and hot, and once you start seeing like wisps of smoke and shiny oil, then you can actually dump this out. If you want to reuse that oil, you can have like a little bucket where you can just like put it in. It's not for cooking, but you can reuse that a couple of times over. So now at this point, with it being nice and smoky, the oil is pre-seasoned and it's like ready for the actual use. Because we're gonna do this really fast, I'm just gonna explain the order of everything first. First, you're gonna put in your initial oil, then you're gonna do the garlic, and then the garlic chives. Once those are par cooked, we add in our rice and finish off all the cooking together. So you'll notice that this wok goes all the way up to over 560 degrees. That is absolutely hot enough for a stir fry, obviously. That is almost hot enough to like ignite the oil that's in here. We don't need to get it that high, maybe like at 395, 400 degrees. Because it's pre-seasoned, it's not sticking, even though I haven't like literally took this wok out of storage. It's really starting to release its aroma now, so I'm gonna add in the garlic chives. And by every time you add something in to a wok, you are also like bringing the temperature of what is inside down. Salt. Now, one thing you always have to be careful not to do, a lot of people, because they think that this wok is like, it's a huge pan, it must hold a lot of stuff. Not true. It doesn't hold, a wok doesn't hold nearly as much as like a lot of people think it does. It's a lot better to cook smaller things in batches so that everything gets that even distribution of like lots of heat. If you were gonna cook like a lot of fried rice, for example. We're not gonna do that much, so we'll just get it all done in one go. So we've got our day-old rice here. And then you add just a little bit more oil. If you were gonna make rice specifically to make garlic fried rice with, one thing I would do, that I didn't do here, but it would have been really nice, is to make your rice with chicken stock. That extra bit of flavor from the chicken stock will add like a really nice level of depth to like a garlic fried rice. Last thing I'm gonna add is olive vegetable. It's pure savory flavor. And by last thing, I mean second last thing, because we have to put some MSG in here too, because, yeah. Okay. So there we have the garlic and garlic chive fried rice. So, can you make fried rice using only an electric burner? I'd say so. So, there you go.